welcome to our very first episode of Buds Brunch. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Jonas.
For a couple of buds, we're going to talk about the buds, but at the same time, we're going to make a little bit of brunch. So first and foremost, we're going to start with a drink. So Jonas, if you could start cutting me up that lemon, I'm going to grab you a beer.
Sure.
Because I know you don't like Caesars.
No, I don't like Caesars. I got a lemon in my eye.
Little 100th Meridian.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Amazing, thank you. Alright, so while I make the Caesar, Jonas is gonna cut up an onion, cut up this wonderful lemon for me, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how the Leafs just did on their most recent road trip to California. So obviously they swept California, starting with Los Angeles, and Jonas, you really liked that game.
California dreaming. More like California sleeping. Usually if you can come out of 3 games in California with, 3 points, it's a bonus. But
Yeah, exactly.
when you can come out with 6, it's pretty impressive.
Alright, so let's start with the LA game. What did you see that you liked most about that game?
It's exciting to see different players stepping up in the absence of Matthews and Nylander and
Well, yeah, playing without those guys for sure, but I mean, they're successful. Oh, sorry, here, I put a candle out for your eyes so that cutting the onions wouldn't hurt so much.
Anderson playing, the way he is. He's making 40 saves in that game.
Well, we kind of knew at the beginning of the season that he was going to have to do that. I mean, the Leafs defense has been questionable from the very beginning, and I don't think that we're the only ones that think that. And, if you have a good backstop behind you, you're going to feel a lot better about your scoring ability as well, I'm going to turn on this burner back here and get ready for those onions that we're about to caramelize with maple syrup. And also I'm going to turn this on as well, our cast iron skillet. Okay, so by the way, we're making breakfast poutine today. So it's sort of a fan favorite in my house, and so we're making it for you, and we're going to show you how to make it as well. So again, you have to start with a Caesar and or a beer, because that's really important. Cheers, bud. Not your jam, but so good.
Alright.
My little pepperoni
I think
stick.
these onions are
Beautiful.
diced up enough.
Amazing.
They had, San Jose after...
San Jose.
And that was, that's a true test right there. And, look at the defense and their whole San Jose roster. It's, they're a cup contending team, too. And then they were down 3-2 at one point?
Yep.
And then they just somehow pulled it together.
It's funny how this team is so much more resilient than teams of the past, where if you had a Leafs team that was down 3-2, say, 2 seasons ago, you might already think the game is over.
No.
Canola oil into the hot pan. We're going to wait for that to heat up a little bit before we put the potatoes in. Really well.
This one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Beautiful. And then what about the Ducks game? That's the most recent. What did you think about that?
The thing that stood out for me was how well Sparks played.
Oh.
Well, he was due for a rebound game after what happened in Boston.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they need him just as much as they need Anderson down the stretch. Like when it comes to the playoffs, Anderson's going to be tired, and they're going to need Sparks to be able to come in and play those back-to-back games and play well.
And then you have Morgan Riley, who's looking like maybe a Norris Trophy contender this year.
What is he? You think he's in 4th place in scoring right
In
now?
the entire league, yeah.
And first for D-Man, obviously.
Yeah. What did you think about Kapanen this past week?
He's turning into the player that I always thought he would, coming up into the Leafs. He played really well with the Marlies, I thought, and he had a little bit of growing up to do, but I love what I saw from him, especially in LA this week.
What do you think about his hair?
I can't actually look at Kapanen without laughing, not just because of his hair, but because of his facial hair right now.
Oh, a nice mustache.
I can't take it. These kids are too funny with their facial hair. I love that they're allowed to grow it now, but they can't, and now it's Movember.
Oh, that's great.
I can't look at him without laughing.
But I think he's been a big difference in the way we've been winning games too, because he's incredibly fast. He might be one of the fastest
he's a
players
great
in the
skater.
league, and now he's getting a chance to show what skill he has too.
For sure. And you know what? I honestly think that the way that Zach Hyman plays has sort of rubbed off a little bit on Kapanen. I think that he's playing harder and he is winning more battles than he was previously. And I think one of the guys on the team that sets an example best for that is Zach Hyman.
That's a good point, because now, this time last year, that's all we'd be talking about is what Hyman's doing, and now it's just naturally a thing that's what Hyman does. That's his thing. We don't need to talk about it
and
anymore.
I mean, there's no secret of why Babs loves him so much.
Yeah.
Do you want to dump those in there? Just be careful, because that's the oil's really hot.
I'll burn myself.
That's the sound you want to hear. Sizzling.
That Levo, Gauthier, and Ennis line's been incredible.
And you were a little bit skeptical about Ennis to start the season because of how small he is. And so are you retracting any statements?
As a smaller guy myself, I think I owe Tyler Ennis an apology. I shouldn't have doubted him, but and now he's, our fourth line, streaky scoring winger. That's for $650,000. That's a steal.
He's a bargain.
It's
a bargain.
It's a bargain.
Well, you've always loved Marner.
He's a god.
Okay, so give me some recent examples of why you love Marner. Little maple syrup in the onions, by the way, is what I just did. We're gonna.
He's on pace for almost 100 points, and it seems like I think you see every shift he plays, it's 100%. He doesn't slack on the defensive side of the game. If anything, that's where he excels.
And do you think that he and Tavares are living up to their expectations as far as how they were meant to play together?
I think they're exceeding the expectations. Marner, who's...
You're in charge of the potatoes.
Okay. And you see Marner, even the game against Anaheim in overtime, he drew the defenseman to him knowing Morgan Riley was coming up the wing and forced the defenseman to get pushed back.
Yeah.
And then it's just an easy pass. He makes that pass,
in his sleep?
Yeah, 10 times out of 10.
I personally think that Kyle Dubas has worked it out so that he knows exactly what he can pay everyone in order to keep everyone. But the problem with that is that all of the players have to comply. I mean, William Nylander has 2 weeks at this point to sign, or he can't play for the rest of the season, and at least don't have him for the rest of the season. And so what do you think it is? Why is he holding out so much? Is it actually him that's doing this, or is it maybe his agent, maybe his dad?
I think he knows his worth, and he's kind of stubborn and stuck on the fact that he wants more.
These are done.
If he looks at other players that just got paid, I mean, it's hard for him to want more than $7 million a year. You see guys like Pasternak making, $6.5.
Okay.
But do we need?
And that's what I was just gonna say. How badly do we need him? And do you think that weighs on his mind at all? Being overseas, I'm sure he watches the games.
Sure
he sees that they are succeeding without him, and you know what? That's gotta hurt negotiations on his end.
Absolutely.
Because Dubas is what do you mean? What are you negotiating here? We don't need you.
We're
winning
place.
without you. This would be you would be the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, so to speak. But we don't. You're not. It's not looking so good for you. The fact that they're doing well enough without him. So these caramelized onions that are nice and sweetened with the maple syrup are done. So I'm gonna set them aside and put them in a little dish.
Oh, these are looking nice and golden brown.
Beautiful. Nice job there, Jonas. Now I'm going to start with our homemade hollandaise sauce.
Peter Hollandaise sauce?
Peter Hollandaise sauce. That's what we're calling it.
You set me up for that one.
I know. It's a good one, though. If he doesn't accept a bridge contract from the Leafs, he's not going to accept a bridge contract from any team. Which is another bargaining chip for Dubas, Okay, so I've opened up lines of communication with other GMs, and here's what they're offering.
Yeah.
But none of them are giving you anything other than a bridge deal. Moving on to the Peter Hollandaise sauce.
Right.
So, my double boiler is starting to get ready here. You don't want it to be too hot because it'll cook the 2 egg yolks that I'm about to put in here. Okay. So, starting with a couple of egg yolks. Jonas, can you pass me that half lemon there, please? Yep. Beautiful. Squeeze this into here. Usually. A little bit of mustard in the hollandaise as well. We're gonna do. Mix that up.
That's the thing. Do they want to trade Nylander?
Well, okay. If we were to trade Nylander, sign and trade, what would you want for him?
In return, I would want 3 pieces. Maybe we add something with Nylander, but I would want a top 4 D-man,
Yeah.
A depth player, like another roster player, and I want a first round pick.
First rounder, yeah, I would say a draft pick. He thinks he's that valuable.
I mean, I think he's worth a first round pick.
I don't know. Out of spite, I kind of hope that he goes to like a really bad team. Is that evil?
That's evil.
No, I hope he stays with the Leafs is what I really hope. So now I'm just adding a little bit at a time melted butter into the hollandaise, and then I just whisk it with my fork in between each addition.
It's getting hot in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's getting hot in here. Oh, there they are.
There we go. Toronto Marlies.
There's the boys. Our Peter Hollandaise sauce is done. I'm just going to wait for this to heat up a little bit so that I can toss the eggs on there. And then we're going to build and eat. I'm pretty excited.
And I'm hungry, so Audrey.
So you're saying that they wouldn't exactly have to go back to exactly the way it was?
I mean, they're in first place. They don't have to do whatever they want.
They can do whatever Bob wants. Alright, let's start plating this up, shall we? I'll hold this because it's hot and heavy.
Do some scooping.
Yep, just straight right in the middle of the plate there. Oh, look who else has decided to get up and join us now that we're plating the food.
It's a dog.
This is Dakota. She's a big Leafs fan too. Okay, so now we'll put a little bit of these caramelized onions on here.
Anything maple, I like.
I know.
Maple syrup.
Well, this is a Canadian show, you know what I'm saying? Bud's Brunch, couple of buds, talking about the buds, making brunch, it better be Canadian. So that's why we're doing breakfast poutine. You gotta maple it up, you gotta make it your own. Okay, so now I think we should do the sauce. Do you want steak on yours?
There's the bear shit in the woods.
Okay, so then yes, okay, cool. So I'll slice up a couple of pieces of steak for you. Oh yes, Dakota, she would like a piece of steak too. Dakota, I think not. Okay, there we go. This looks so good. Look at that.
Looking good.
There's a little chipotle sauce in there as well to kind of spice it up a little bit. Peter Hollandaise. See, now you've got me hooked on it.
I think the dog wants some.
I think so. I think she's drooling on the floor right now. Jonas, if you would not mind grabbing the bacon out of the oven. Okay. This is my oven mitt.
Marley's rally towel.
Sure is. Lovely.
Just make your own poutine.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna crisscross a couple pieces of bacon like this on the top.
Don't be shy of the bacon.
You don't have to be, no. You can use as much or as little as you like. And I'm gonna toss a delicious fried egg on top of that bad boy. Jonas, can you please cut those chives in half there that are sitting over there? Because as you know, presentation is very important. Yeah, that's all I need right there. I'm gonna crisscross this on the top of yours and on the top of mine. Look at this beautiful poutine. Okay, time to eat.
Soak up last night's
festivities.
Yeah.
6 games left till the Nylander deadline, plus not knowing whether or not Matthews is going to be back in full health. But if they're still winning at that point,
do you rush them back? Oh, this is so good.
Was it good?
Oh my god.
Wow, that is so good.
Perfect bacon.
This is amazing. The hollandaise is so good. Have you gotten to the onions yet?
Where are they? Oh, there they are.
Oh yeah, you have steak on yours too. It was sort of part of the excitement that we wanted to see how everything was going to all work together, how every single mechanism was going to fire on this Leafs team. So one way or another, we will find out, and by our next episode of Bud's Brunch, we'll have a conclusion for you to the William Nylander saga. With that, I guess we'll sign off, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us for our very first episode of Bud's Brunch. Once again, I'm Jessica.
I'm Jonas.
And have a great day. Cheers.